Hello everyone, welcome to my 2020 bullet journal setup. And in this video, I'm going to be using the A5 Filofax notebook. So what you see me doing here is taking out all of the line pages that it pre-came with and then just putting in the dot pages that you have to buy separately for the journal. So for this setup, I decided to go with a blue, that's more a grayish blue, and then a lighter like lime green. So far, I have already made the 2020 cover page. So I just put 2020 with a line in between, and then also some like white gel pen over some of the black parts that I colored in. And here is the year at a glance. So the year at a glance is just a glancing calendar. So when you look at it, it has everything, all of the dates for the months. I usually use this when I'm making my monthly calendars because it's easier to look back on and you don't have to be flipping through your future log to see the dates that you want to know about. And actually, when I did these dates, I printed out a calendar, and that's what you see me pulling out right above me. So I printed out all the 2020 dates on like one piece of printer paper, and it happened to be colored green. Doesn't really matter. And then I just ended up copying them onto my year at a glance just to ensure that I didn't like mess up the dates or get anything wrong. And it's just right in front of me, so it's easy to look at. So for some of these pages, I find it the most convenient if I just took it out of the binding and then wrote on it separately. So I did that a few times throughout this page. Next page that I'm going to be doing is my grid spacing cheat sheet. This is essentially a grid mapping page that tells you how many dot grids it is, and especially since this is a new notebook to me, I am really going to need to know how big the dimensions are so when I make weekly spreads or monthly spreads or whatever, and they're just right there instead of me having to count them out. After this grid spacing cheat sheet is going to be my index. I just made it one full spread, which is 2 pages, and it's for rapid logging. And if you're looking for something specific in your notebook, instead of trying to flip through, you can just take a look at your index and then look at it, especially since this book has no bookmarks. If you are unfamiliar with the term future log, it essentially means like a calendar where you can write down things that are happening in the future. So if you're going to a water park in San Diego, California in February and you don't have your calendar yet for the month or whatever, you can write down your future log when the dates are going to happen. And normally I use my future log for events 3 or 4 months in the future. And then when it comes to that month, I always look back on my future log to see the events, put them on my calendar, and then when I make my weekly spreads, I put them onto my weekly spread. So this way there's a 3-chain sequence of what's going to be happening in the future. That way you're the most prepared for what's happening. This is a really cool technique that I'm making here, and if you have any markers that are water-based markers, you can do this same trick. So if you have any sandwich bags or plastic containers, you can rub your water markers, and here I'm using my Crayola Super Tips, and I'm using the blue and then the green. So I'm putting them both together, and if you add a little bit of water on top, it creates this watered effect that looks really cool when you're finished with it. I also added too much water, so you see me dumping here some of the water onto this other separate piece of paper. So this is my goals page, and here you see me doing calligraphy, and I divided my page into two different sections. So one is personal goals, and then one is Instagram and YouTube goals. And I divided them so I can have more room to really write down what I want to do, this month. And this is also one of the last pages of my setup. And besides dividing this full page spread into two different sections, I also split the goals section into three different ones, which is to have, to be, and then to do. And then for the to do section, I put how to do it, and then I'm going to put 3 steps on how I can do one of my goals. That way it can make it more easier for me to actually accomplish the goals that I set for myself. The last part in my bullet journal setup, and it's just the verse Jeremiah 29:11. This verse really talks about how God knows the plans that are happening in the future, and he works for the good. And then also I forgot to put the key in here, and I really wanted to add that. So I looked back at my old bullet journal here, and I wrote down my key. And by the way, if you're looking for that video of my flip through, I'm going to put it in the description box below for you guys so it's easy. Hope you enjoyed this bullet journal setup for 2020. I'll be linking some of the pens and stuff that I used in the description box below, which includes the Tombow Mono drawing pen, the A5 Filofax notebook, and then also the 2 Crayola Super Tips that I used. And of course, if you want to see more, there's 3 things you can do to help support me and my channel. The first thing you can do is subscribe to my YouTube channel. I always love new subscribers. Second, you can like this photo and comment down below. And then third, you can follow me on Instagram with it. That's just Katie Journals.